Hey, y'all, it's me here. Welcome back. And today we are getting into a super exciting topic that has been on my mind for quite some time now. We are talking about fast fashion, and more specifically, we're talking about the dark truth behind those clothing labels. You know, the ones that say things like made in a fair trade factory, organic cotton, recycled material. Do they really mean what we think they mean? Or are they just cleverly placed green buzzwords designed to trick us? Well, I don't know the answer. And honestly, that is why I have decided to do this video. Because I feel like the way we consume clothes, especially right now with the holiday season coming up and all the sales, it's just not sustainable, which kind of makes sense because the word sustainable is literally in the name sustainable development. But we need to be more mindful of our habits and make sure we are truly making an impact when we think we are. So let's unpack the real story behind these labels together. If you're new here, hi, welcome. This channel is all about helping you navigate your financial journey through topics surrounding money, mindset, and magic. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to mention is something called greenwashing. If you haven't heard of this term before, it is basically the act of misleading consumers into thinking a company is environmentally friendly when in reality it is not. For example, a company might say that its packaging is 100% recycled when in reality only 70% of it is. So there is no legal definition of greenwashing. But it's important to be aware of the term and how companies might use it to trick us. So be careful of buzzwords and do your research before buying. The second thing I want to talk about is the rise of fast fashion. Now, this is something that has become very popular in recent years. Basically, fast fashion refers to the trend of producing high volumes of clothing very quickly and cheaply to keep up with current trends and demands. But here's where it gets complicated. While fast fashion allows us to buy trendy clothes at a low cost, it also comes with a darker side that most companies are not telling us about. Here are 3 things they aren't telling us. First, the environmental impact. So fast fashion contributes to greenhouse gas emissions, water pollution, excessive water usage, land degradation, and microplastic pollution. Like what? I know. Second, the human impact. So workers in the fast fashion industry often face poor working conditions, unfair wages, and excessive working hours. And third, the overconsumption and waste. So fast fashion encourages us to buy more clothes more often, which leads to overflowing landfills. So you can see there are a lot of problems with fast fashion. And again, most of these issues are hidden from us as customers. Now that we know the dark truth behind fast fashion, I am gonna tell you about the third thing they aren't telling us about, which is the labeling system. In an effort to promote transparency and sustainability in the fashion industry, many companies are beginning to use labels on their clothes to share information about their production process and materials used. There are various types of clothing labels that can indicate things like the material content, care instructions, country of origin, size, and more. But in recent years, labels have begun to include information about the sustainability and ethics of the garment as well. But here's the thing, these labels are voluntary, meaning companies can choose whether or not to use them and what information to include. This lack of regulation can lead to confusion and make it difficult for customers to know if the label is accurate and reliable. Okay. So now that we have talked about the negative impacts of fast fashion and the labeling systems, let's talk about something that I am very excited to share with you guys, which is the potential solution. Enter eco labels. Now, if you've watched my video on how to read a clothing label, you may be familiar with this. but eco-labels are independently certified by organizations that set standards for environmental performance. So this means that these labels can provide a more reliable and trustworthy indicator of a garment's sustainability compared to labels that are created and regulated by the brand themselves. Now there are many different types of eco-labels out there, and while each one has its own set of standards and requirements, they all generally aim to reduce the environmental impact of clothing throughout the supply chain. Some of the most common eco-labels you will see are the GOTS, which stands for Global Organic Textile Standard. It ensures that textiles are made from non-toxic and environmentally friendly materials. Then you have OEKO-TEX, which provides a list of harmful substances that should not be in a textile product. And then you have Fair Trade USA, which sets standards for fair labor practices and safe working conditions in factories. Now there are so many more, and I am not going to go into detail about all of them, but you can click right here to learn more. But wait, even though these labels sound amazing, they are not perfect. So here are a couple of things to consider. The first thing to consider is that these labels are often found on higher-end products, and that means that they usually come with a higher price tag, which makes it harder for people who are on a budget to make sustainable choices. Second thing to consider is that these labels can be complex and difficult to understand, which means that a lot of shoppers just kind of glaze over them and don't really pay attention to them. And finally, the third thing to consider is that not all eco-labels are created equally. There are some that are more credible and widely recognized than others. So it's important to do some research and make sure you are supporting a reputable organization. So this brings me to the point of the video where I share my personal experience with these eco-labels. I remember when I first started seeing them, I was pretty skeptical. I thought they were just another marketing tactic to make us spend more money on clothes that we didn't need. But then I started seeing them everywhere I went, and I started doing some research. And I was shocked at what I found. I realized that these labels are actually a really good thing, and that they can help us make more informed decisions when we are shopping for clothes. So now I always take the time to look for these labels before I buy anything. And I'm not gonna lie, it can be a little bit overwhelming at first. It takes a little bit more time and effort to find the information you need, but it's definitely worth it in the end. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we are being good global citizens and that we are taking care of the planet. That's why I love these eco-labels, because they make it easier for us to do that. They help us avoid greenwashing, and they help us make more informed decisions. So if you are like me and you want to learn more about these eco-labels, I highly encourage you to check out the resources I have linked in the description box below. And lastly, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you. And I just want to say that I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed learning about these eco-labels as much as I did, and I hope you will use them the next time you go shopping. Remember, every small step counts, and together we can make a big difference. If you found this video helpful, let us know in the comments below. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing content. Your support means everything to us. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.